So it's March 27th right now, and I thought I was gonna do something interesting for this video, which is just kind of focusing on blooms and just kind of showing you guys the various blooms. Um, I wanted to just show the ones that are actually fully open and see how it looks like, if there's any kind of fungal issues, powdery mildew issues, the varieties, and just kind of talk a little bit about it, and just kind of make some commentary on it and some notes just for now and for just kind of future reference. I thought today would be a good day to do it because it's pretty nice and sunny, and the blooms are still kind of looking pretty good on most of the trees, but we are gonna get 2 heavy days of rain this weekend, so that's why I wanted to do this before the rain come in and probably destroy most of the blooms, and hopefully not. Usually the rains ain't too bad if it rains, and then we get some nice sunny days right after the rain. The blooms kind of hold up pretty well and may even be a bit beneficial as it wipes away some of the powdery mildew spores and so forth. But if it rains and then we get what would be like lots of gloomy days afterward, that usually just kind of pretty much destroys most of the blooms. You're gonna have to definitely spray or something if you want to try to maintain it and keep it. So first variety I'm going to talk about, and I'm only going to go through the varieties that has blooms that are open, not the ones that has a bloom stalk but it hasn't opened or anything like that. So this is the variety Lemonzest. So Lemonzest is from reports that I've got from friends and folks in the kind of mango community here in California, is that Lemonzest is very kind of fungal prone and powdery mildew prone, and has a lot of issues. Interestingly enough, I've done no spraying. This is March. I've done no spraying in March. I've done spraying in January and February with copper, just to prevent any kind of serious fungal issues. But in March I've done no spraying, and lots of times I usually do just kind of prevent powdery mildew, but this was going to be just me testing out the varieties, and this year I really just want a lot of vegetative growth, so if they don't set fruit, that's fine with me too. So it's a good time to kind of test out these varieties and see how they held up. I mean, I would consider this has been a mild winter, and probably one of the best winters for mangoes. In my opinion, it seems like it's been pretty ideal for mango blooms. And if in this kind of really ideal weather that these varieties don't hold up, then it probably does have some serious kind of issues, and you probably might have to think about other varieties if you don't plan to spray. So in such an ideal weather that we had so far this winter, lots of these mangoes should possibly setting fruit on their own without trying to spray for too many things such as fungal and powdery mildew issues. So with that said, this is Lemonzest, considered a very fungal prone variety here in California. Interestingly enough, I haven't had that much fungal issues. So I'm in LA County, and I know some of the folks down towards San Diego has had like lots of serious issues with powdery mildew. I have a friend and a friend that also has a serious issue, and he's more inland with powdery mildew. I haven't seen any this year, so maybe this has just been an ideal year. But last year I hadn't really seen much powdery mildew issue on my tree also until very late, and on the blooms until very late. So this has been the most interesting one, because if you look at this, you see some browning, and that's just spent blooms. It's not like fungal issues, just spent blooms. But the interesting thing enough is, like, I seen this last year with my other bloom too, which was on a larger tree. All these blooms right here, all these lower blooms, they're all male blooms. I don't see a single female bloom on this. It's very bizarre. So for a while I thought this wasn't going to even send out any female blooms, and they're pretty easy to tell a male bloom versus a female bloom. The female or hermaphrodite blooms, they have like what I would consider like a tiny dot in the middle of the flower, which is like a tiny miniature mango right there. So the ones that are male, they don't have that, So this one's a female right here. I don't know, you can see, I'm trying to get it to focus right there. My pen is. See that little dot? And just interesting with Lemonzest is everything below that is all just male blooms, and I'm just getting a few female flower blooms right here on the tip. Right here on the very tip. Like you look at this, it's just this section right here where my Sharpie is at. Everything else is a male flower, so that's really interesting. And it just kind of opened up maybe in the last day or so, because I don't think I even noticed this yesterday. So here's a few more. So just kind of keep that in mind. I don't know if that's a habit with Lemonzest, but I've seen it 2 years in a row now, prior year and this year. So if you are into like kind of cutting the blooms to kind of get some weight off of it, just notice that Lemonzest, most of the females blooms I noticed has been at the end tips. So if you do cut it off, you're probably not gonna get fruit. If that's your goal, was to kind of just lighten the load and still get fruit from Lemonzest. So this is my Lemonzest. At the same time, I'm not really a fan of kind of cutting the tips. Like if you want vegetative growth, to cut the tips on the flowers, because I feel like when you cut the tips, you want fruit set, but you don't want it to develop if you're looking for vegetative growth. So there's really no point to cut so much of it off and then risk that chance of nothing developing and reblooming. At the same time, there might be some issues with it attracting more fungal problems with that, but I don't have enough history on that practice to kind of really say. So I'm not really that big of a fan of like cutting bloom tips because you're trying to get vegetative growth. I'm more just kind of just let it be. The longer the bloom tip, the more chance of it setting fruit. If it's set fruit, it's not going to rebloom again, and then you could just kind of cut that fruitlets off when it gets into warmer weather. Versus kind of cutting it, you're risking it just kind of reblooming again if nothing sets. So that's my take on it. So this is Lemonzest. Okay, that's how it looks like right now. No signs of powdery mildew issue or anything. So very surprising, at least for me, based on the track record of this variety. So this is orange sherbet. I see some little bit sign of powdery mildew on orange sherbet, but at least the orange sherbet, I'm getting like female flowers. See, you can see the one right there where the Sharpie is at. It's kind of like all spread out around this bloom. It's kind of spread out everywhere. There's female flowers on the tip here. There's female flowers on the bottom. So it's kind of everywhere. So that's orange sherbet, which is a sibling of Lemonzest. So a little bit sign of powdery mildew, but nothing too bad. There's nothing that kind of spread and covered everything. So it seems to be pretty good so far. So this is the variety Juliette, and you can see like these little fruitlets kind of all over everywhere. Quite a bit of them. No signs of fungal issue like powdery mildew, just kind of spent blooms. So Juliette seems pretty fungal resistant. This is the second year I had bloomer. Last year it was pretty much same thing. It was pretty fungal resistant. Had a lot of fruitlets, but they all kind of end up dropping for, not really sure what the reason was, but it ended up all dropping. But there was a bunch of fruitlets and not much at all in terms of powdery mildew or fungal issue. So this is the variety Juliette. So this is the variety Cotton Candy, and I'm really liking cotton candy in terms of how disease resistant the bloom is. It just hasn't been that kind of vigorous of a grow. It's just kind of been okay to kind of slow. But last year I had blooms on them, this year I had blooms on them, and they were both very, very disease resistant. So with the cotton candy, it has a red stem, and most of its bloom is kind of more on the yellow side. Right here, there's no sign of powdery mildew on this at all. So pretty powdery mildew resistant, I would say, because if we jump right next to the same tree and what's on it, this is Super Julie, known to be pretty disease resistant, but you could see there's some slight signs of powdery mildew, but nothing drastic. You know, there's some varieties where it's just horrible, it just kind of covers an entire thing. This is just barely any, so I would consider this pretty good and fungal resistant. Super Julie has very, very nice red blooms, a bit redder than Juliette, but its blooms is really nice and red. Look at that. So you see a lot of female flowers there. You know, it kind of pops. You could see that little tiny miniature fruit. I don't know if it's pollinated or not, but it's there. So this is the variety Super Julie. So on the same tree, this is the variety Cac. Cac is supposed to be a very disease-resistant variety. I think it's supposedly show signs of powdery mildew, but still sets fruit. So I am seeing powdery mildew symptoms on it, and it's not light, but it's not heavy. So, well, actually, some bloom branches has been pretty heavy. So we'll see. I don't know. I thought this was going to be a bit more fungal resistant, but it could just be that it gets powdery mildew, but still sets lots of fruits. I mean, there's varieties that does do that, where they get tons of powdery mildew, but they still set fruit. Like the Laverne Manila rootstocks is a variety that does that. Its blooms are prone to powdery mildew, but still sets tons of like nubbins and some healthy fruits if you don't spray on it. So this is the variety Cac. Cac has like a very kind of light stem. It's not even that reddish, more like orangey, and yellow blooms. You kind of see the fruit right there. That's not the fruit, but I would say the female flower across the board. Here's a few of the branches that has pretty bad powdery mildew issue. Not sure if it's gonna set any fruit or anything like that. So this is the variety Cac. We'll see what happens. So this is the variety Sunrise. Seems has a little bit of powdery mildew, but nothing drastically bad or anything so far. Sunrise. Okay. Up next is the variety Sweet Tart. Again, Sweet Tart, it does show a little bit signs of powdery mildew. So I was saying, this is Sweet Tart. It does show a little bit sign of powdery mildew, but nothing bad, nothing I would consider too bad. And reports just from our area at least is that it sets tons of fruits. It's supposed to be productive, disease resistant, and does very well. So this is Sweet Tart. You can see lots of blooms right here. I mean, to me it looks pretty nice. A little bit powdery mildew symptoms here and there, but overall pretty good. So this is the variety Carla, and pretty good so far. Very, very light. I would say light, almost powdery mildew, but that's about it. So this is the variety Carla. So this is the variety Golden Queen. This one bloomed this month, so it's actually looking really nice. No powdery mildew issue. You know, so it might not have too bad of a powdery mildew issue problem. But anything I had that bloomed in February, some of my Golden Queen blooms in February, they just got decimated by just fungal issues. Might not have necessarily been powdery mildew, but it was definitely fungal. So this variety, Golden Queen, Huang, whatever you want to kind of call it, but it has a lot of names, but looking pretty good. This is the variety Carrie. So no powdery mildew issue on Carrie. Yellow flowers, kind of red stem. There's like a female flower right there. That's how the female flowers look like. It's like a little tiny miniature mango on there versus a male flower that just doesn't really have anything. This is the variety Buttercream. So it's looking good. I don't see any powdery mildew signs at all. So this variety Buttercream. This is Pickering. Looks really nice. Even the blooms even a little bit long stalk. Like pinkish stem and like these speckles of pink in the flower. It's a nice bloom, nice colored bloom. So this is Pickering. No signs of powdery mildew. But again, a lot of this, I think it kind of just depends. Sometimes it's by chance too, the timing, you know, it's opening up during nice weather, a spot in your yard, your microclimate. Just kind of depends on it. I'm just showing you guys how my yard is doing with some of this. So this is a variety Pickering. So this is Sein Pari. It's looking not bad. I mean, it's no powdery mildew issue. Had some fungal problems, but that was due to all the rains, but at least no PM powdery mildew issue, which is good to see on this variety. I feel like lots of my Indian varieties seems to be a little bit more fungal prone in terms of powdery mildew than some of the other varieties. So this is Sein Pari. Now I think we're going to get into some of the varieties that's been a little bit more fungal prone than I would like. This is St. Maui. I love St. Maui. It grows really well. The fruit is an amazing tasting fruit, but it does get powdery mildew, not only on the blooms but on the leaves too. So it's not light powdery mildew too. It gets pretty bad. So I sprayed this tree with a mixture of herbal oil and baking soda. I'll probably be spraying it again, but here's you can see what happens to it. That's how it's not light powder mildew. It kind of covers all of it before it even gets a chance to open up. So unfortunately, that's St. Maui. You know, still a variety I would recommend because it's very interesting in terms of like I'm getting full blooms, mixed blooms, and just like some that's just like pure vegetative growth out of this, which you don't really get on a lot of the California trees. They usually either bloom or mixed bloom. During this time of year, you don't get any kind of vegetation unless you had done some really heavy pruning, maybe prior to the winter or something like that. But even pruning lots of times doesn't prevent it from blooming. You could prune a large branch and that tree can still bloom almost like a jaboticaba where it's just all over the place and there's really no end tips. It's just blooming from any new shoots it's sending out. So it's really good to see ST Maui being a somewhat vigorous variety here in California. It is able to send out blooms and vegetative growth at the same time. So unfortunately, it's very powdery mildew prone. That's the only one thing about it. Blooms get it, leaves get it. So that's an update on ST Maui. Now we're getting into like other varieties that's a bit even definitely more worse. This is Cecilove. I probably would not recommend this variety in California. It's not that vigorous of a grower, and from my understanding, it's supposed to taste pretty similar to sweet tart. But the blooms are definitely fungal prone to both whatever fungal issues out there and powdery mildew. 2 consecutive years of this, it's just not, doesn't look good. I even sprayed this in February and January with copper, and it still doesn't look good. So I wouldn't recommend Cecilove for California. I mean, just because we have sweet tart, if you're gonna pick one or the other, just go with the sweet tart. From what people say, they taste pretty close to each other. Even though I can't say it myself, I haven't had Cecilove, but it's just from seeing its growth habit, I would definitely wouldn't recommend this if you don't have to get it. So this is Cecilove. This is Harvest Moon. Same thing, very powder mildew prone. You know, none of the blooms is gonna make it. Okay. Next to it is an Alphonso. If Alphonso wasn't such a good variety and such a popular variety, it's probably about not one you probably would consider growing. I guess it's supposed to be vigorous enough. I haven't grown it long enough to know, but it's definitely powder mildew prone. Look at this right here. It's literally covering powder mildew before it even got a chance to even send out any like a long stalk or anything like that. So this is Alphonso, very powder mildew prone. This right here is Guava Sein Ta Lone. I liked it that it sent out blooms and then also sent out vegetation. You don't really see that. I only had that happen with ST Maui and this grafted branches. So usually here in California, when it blooms, it's like stops all kind of vegetation growing. But unfortunately, it seems very prone to powdery mildew. The plant itself might have quite a bit of vigor, but it's probably also very prone to powdery mildew. Look at it right now, it's pretty bad. Next to it is a Giselle. Same thing, I have liked the growth on this branch. It's still like a young graft, but the blooms was literally covered in powdery mildew. I just recently sprayed this like a day ago because I just wanted kind of to stop it. I didn't want it to be kind of lingering, the powdery mildew, but I was able to at least test it out and see how it handles powdery mildew, at least in my yard. Alright, so this is an update on everything that bloomed in terms of the flower opening. I still got quite a bit more varieties. They haven't quite opened yet, but maybe I'll start another video of that when those other varieties start blooming and the flowers open. Just wanted to provide an update. See if any of you guys find this interesting. All right, thanks for tuning in.